I love that Lady Dimitrescu was pretty much just a marketing piece. She's barely even in the game. Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm not going to have a huge amount of spoilers, but I will probably be discussing, you know, her existence. Yeah, it's apparently not as scary as 7, but I've watched the game be played through and it does look pretty scary. There's certain sections that are terrifying, apparently. I'm so excited to play it. That's fair. Horror games aren't for everyone. I haven't had much experience with them, but I'm really excited to try them out. That's for sure. But I feel like I'm going to be very similar and I'm just going to... I spook quite easily. Jump scares get me, but I prefer like psychological horror, to be honest with you. I like a lot of suspense. Hi. Yes, so the first games were kind of about like zombie apocalypse kinds of things. Then we had 7 was about this like chemical that drove people insane. Well, not really a chemical, but I also don't want to give spoilers too much. It was vampires and lichens were the main baddies. Yeah, hillbilly murder zombies. Quite literally. So this is my low effort Lady Dimitrescu cosplay. I was gonna wear gloves, but it makes it a bit harder when I'm using the iPad. Right. So I am gonna ruin the cosplay by putting on some glasses because your girl blind. There we go. You must let me know if at any point my iPad like projection cuts out or my audio's not very good, etc, etc. I will have to take the hat off to draw because it's very distracting and I want to put my headphones on, but they don't really work with the hat. Yes, nerd, because I can't see, but that means I'm smart, and smart is good. Okay, so I have literally done the bare minimum for this. I wanted to go completely from scratch. Okay, I think I'm going to take the hat off, put the headphones on, and we'll be able to get started. So you've got a couple of people here now. Headphones on. Because you'll see the hat doesn't really work. It doesn't work with the headphones like at all. I think it's definitely a good look. Okay. So, let's get started. Honestly, if anyone has any idea why technology hates me, I would really appreciate it if you could, like, you know, tell me. So I have not even got a colour palette yet. I wanted to do this completely from scratch on screen. The only reason I did the plan is because it can take me a while to decide what I want to do. Oh, I also have done a rough lighting plan. It looks messy, it looks confusing. That's just how I work. I have a very chaotic mind. I need to make a colour palette first and foremost. Now, she has very pale white skin because she's a vampire. So I'm going to go for whites, light greys, light blues, light yellows. Okay? So let's, first of all, grab my go-to brush. Make myself a colour palette. This is just for her skin. So what I'm doing here is, I know these are all very, very similar and you'll barely be able to tell them apart when they're in the drawing, but they just instead of just going from white to very dark grey. If you add little bits of blues and yellows, it adds a nice liveliness to the tin. I know she's technically, you know, the undead, but you know what I mean. It makes it look less like plasticky and waxy, basically. There's I don't know if they're actually working or not. I tried to set up point redeeming. So you get points the more you watch, the more you interact, if you follow, blah 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 blah. However, I'm not sure if it's working because I did it very last minute. But there's some audio in the background in my house that sounds exactly like one of the notification sounds. Just moving this around so that it actually matches getting darker. Yeah, that's fine. Gonna add 1 or 2 more shades at this point. Now I'm just gonna go boom. And boom. Okay, that's our skin color palette. Then what we need is one for her outfit. So her clothing is like a white creamy color, so it's going to be very, very similar to her skin tones. I'm probably actually going to use half the same colors as the skin tones. So I'll actually probably end up using the exact same color palette. Art is just me being catfished by colors. There you go. Okie dokie. And obviously her hair is black. I'd mainly just use black and blues for darker hair. It's going to be pretty simple, and her hat is also black. So I'm thinking of starting with the hat because honestly I'm a little nervous to get into the skin tones because it's been such a long time since I've worked with skin tones. So I'm going to build myself up to it rather than getting stressed, messing it up and having to restart anyway. So we'll start with the hat, which means we want a very, very dark blue. We can turn off the lighting plan for now. There we go. So really, my suggestion is to start off with the... I like to start with the big blocky things first, get all the basics down, and then I build on top of that. So each layer will have a new item of clothing. For example, the hat will be one layer, her dress will be one layer, the boob section will actually be its own layer because of the way the material falls. Her hands and her face will be different layers. And what you'll notice I do is I just put a flat colour down and then I start on a new layer and it looks really messy, it doesn't fit the shape, and then I bring it in because that way I feel a bit more creative and I'm not worried about staying inside the lines and such. It's just a technique that I've discovered works for me mainly, but that you can do it many ways. But we're starting with a nice dark blue, nearly black. You never want to use pure black because it's basically just a void of colour. So if you have like a very, very, very dark brown or very, very dark blue, it looks a bit more alive. It looks more realistic because pure black doesn't actually exist. So and what we're going to do is we're going to go Put that there. Okay, so that's the hat down as just a block. I'm just going to block everything out to start with, I've decided. Let's go for the dress. Okay, the dress is going to be lots of lines rather than one big one. Always make sure you're drawing on the right layer, kids. Because that will get you later on. So this is a bit of a sexy pose. I was inspired by watching playthroughs of the game and everyone just absolutely thirsting over Lady Dimitrescu. So I thought I'd put her in a slightly less violent, slightly more, you know, chill, hangout kind of vibe. I'm actually going to do the arm on a separate layer. Actually, we will do it like that. So in case you were wondering why I'm doing the arm on a separate layer, it's because when I go to do the shading, I use a smudge tool, and if I have them all on one layer, it'll be hard for me to use the smudge tool and keep the correct curves of her hip in contrast to the straightness of her arm. Whereas if I do them on separate layers, I can do the majority of the shading in those intricate bits separately, combine them down together, and then smooth it all out so it looks like a cohesive piece. You don't have to do it that way. Obviously, everything I do is just my personal preference. But I just find it easier. It's a bit less stressful to try and keep it smooth. Also, you can see these are just rough lines for now. I'm actually going to make this one a bit darker than that. Yeah. Okay, and then we're going to go for a lighter colour. So I'm not removing any of my line art, by the way. This is going to stay there because, again, new layer. Because I'm not doing all the details right away. So what you want to do is start with the shapes you really want to keep separated. It's really annoying. I have to keep this Bandia studio while I'm drawing so that it can't be, you know, stolen or anything, especially when I'm producing the time-lapse video. It helps to have my name in it already so that I don't have to edit it on. But it gets really annoying because I keep having to move it. Hi! Thank you for joining our stream, Miles Stromdor. It's nice to have you here. We're drawing Lady Dimitrescu today. Have you played Resident Evil? You don't have to be in the stream, by the way. There we go. Alright. We want a slightly better shape than that. My hands are a tiny bit shaky today, which you'll probably be able to tell with my lines. So it'll take me a few extra attempts. Oh yeah, I haven't played it either. I watched someone playing it. I'm hopefully going to play it next month when my PC arrives. Because obviously my laptop cannot run that. But anyone's welcome to obviously watch, lurk, you don't have to chat. Just because I'm drawing Lady Dimitrescu doesn't mean you have to have played it or be a fan of her. I just like to talk through what I'm doing with my art and just have a chat, basically. So thank you for coming by. At the moment, I am literally just... yeah. I'm just drawing in the block shapes. So it's not exciting just yet. But it will be hopefully eventually. You will have to bear with me today because all of a sudden my hand has started shaking, which I wasn't expecting, but that will make it a little bit more difficult to do this. Trying to decide if I want to redo that line. Yes, I do. So I hope you guys can all hear me okay. I know last stream the audio got messed up. There we go. We have a separate layer for the booba. And we're going to want another separate layer for the arms. Boom. So I will be drawing Lady D for a couple of streams because there's no way I'll get this all done in one go. My portraits usually take me about 9 to 14 hours, depending on how much detail I'm going in. And they take me longer when I'm doing it on stream because I'm obviously chatting. Actually, to be honest, this should probably be the same colour. Really handy thing to do is if you've decided all of a sudden, oh no, I've done my line art in the wrong colour, but I want to fill that section in, instead of going onto a new layer to fill in using it as a reference, because then you get some pixels that are missed and it's less clean, just fill it all in the wrong colour or separate colours. You alpha lock it like I just did and you click fill layer and it'll just fill it with whatever colour you select. Obviously, if you want your line art to be a different colour to the filled in part, I would either duplicate that layer or I would just use the reference option. So here's our clothing. Oh, we have another arm I forgot about. Mustn't forget the other arm. This piece is scary because it involves a very prominent hand, and hands are hard. Ask any artist. Hands are one of the hardest things there are. That's why there's so many art memes about hands. I did a good hand once when I was drawing the main character from Queen's Gambit, and I've never been able to live up to that since. Oh, if you see me posing randomly, it's me trying to figure out how, like, the arms should be working. Yeah, you don't really see. Oh. Don't forget to fill those bottom lines. There you go. We've got 2 arms now. I'm going to do the basic skin. Yeah, my hands are not the best. They certainly are a struggle for me, and they're actually usually what takes me the longest in a portrait. That and hair, I'm really indecisive about how I style the hair when I do it. Okay, so now we're going to start with the skin. We're actually going to have... We're going to do it in the one of the darkest tones we're going to use, just so it contrasts against the dress, and that means when I'm doing my shading later on, I won't have to worry about that so much. So, I keep forgetting to pick up a new layer because I'm chatting and distracted. Basically, my channel is all about going on an art journey together. It doesn't matter if you've drawn 1,000 times or 0 times. I like to go from the very scratch and show that, you know, even I wouldn't say I'm, you know, a professional. I did do it at GCSE and I was taught by my nan, but I'm also very much self-taught. I haven't had a lot of actual training. But I've drawn for a couple of years, and even though I've done that, I still stumble on blocks and still struggle a little bit, especially as I'm getting used to the digital art platform. You know what? I feel like I don't like the way I've done that. So we start again. Digital art is just lots of, that's not quite right. Let me do that another 1,000 times. I'm sure you're not terrible. I'm sure it just takes a little bit of practice. Anyone can be an artist with enough practice, to be honest. I actually really struggle with... I'm very good at copying, in a sense. Hi, Susie Q12. I'm very good at copying in a sense, but I'm not very good at when you get those step by step. So it's like, draw this circle, do that. I can kind of do that by myself to start, but I can't copy someone else's instructions for that. So it's just about finding what works for you. So we have a very special guest here today. Susie Q12 is my nan, and that who has taught me most of this. They are the whole reason I decided to start streaming and set up my own art brand. So can we have a big hello in chat if you're happy to say hello to my nan, who I love very dearly. Mwah. It's a big honour to have them here today, and that they've managed to figure out how to use Twitch, because I get confused still with Twitch. Right, I know this looks crazy chaos, okay? Just bear with me. I know it looks so silly right now. But I wanted to take you through the entire process, not when it's halfway done, so you can see the way my brain works. Then... I'm not so sure I want to... We'll outline the hand very briefly, but I know I'm going to be changing this. So... Yes, I know that looks like weird fingers. It's because it's going to be hidden behind the rest of her outfit. Top tip. Don't do more work than you need to. If it's not going to be visible at all, don't put the work into it. I spent, I think, 2-3 hours drawing a weapon that... actually, no, we want that above that one. That is barely visible in my D&D drawing. I hope the music's not too loud for you guys. It's a bit loud for me. And we can turn it down a bit. I feel like I'm shouting at you, and I'm so sorry. It's like shouting over the music. Okay. And then we want to do the... Again, we're going to be using a very dark blue for the hair. Practically black, but not quite. If you see in the values, it's not entirely black. Okay. Can you hear the music now? I was gonna put creepy like horror music on. It says to me it's technically audible. Hold on. Yeah, music's not necessary. I just know some people like to not have complete silence. So if I'm thinking or focusing, I try to have music in the background. But... if you feel like I'm shouting at you at any point, please do tell me off. Because it's probably just that because I've got the audio here that I don't realise how loud I am. Okay, let's plot out this hair. I've realised that I basically got a Lady D haircut by accident. But I think it's pretty iconic, so I don't mind. Actually, what I want to do is I'm going to make a mask on here. And that means I can remove some of this piece without permanently removing it. You'll see that if I turn the mask off, that colour's still there. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you. Oh, my nan is so lovely. Okay, and this one goes on top, so we have to do a new layer. The thing with hair is sometimes you need multiple layers because obviously it's behind your jaw, it's over your face as well, so it's easier to have multiple layers and then merge them together. There we go. And that means that on my other layer, I'm gonna have to add a little bit behind here. Oh. There we go. Boom. It still looks very silly, but it's coming together. There we go. Her hat is black. I am correct in thinking that, right? I feel like I might be deluding myself. No, her hat is black. Okay. Glad I'm not lying to myself. Okay. I actually think while it's being blocked out, I'm going to make the hat a little bit lighter just so I can tell the difference between it and the hair. I'm actually going to make the hat like a really dark red, I think. So this is what I was talking about earlier. So I want to change the whole colour of this piece, and rather than drawing over it individually, which will take ages and it's just really annoying and you're likely to miss a bit, I've clicked on the layer, I've ticked alpha lock, which means I now, if you have a look, I can't, wait, let me use a more visible colour. I can't draw outside the boundaries. So I'm going to change the colour. Making it a blue just for now, and I'm going to click fill layer, and that will change all of that section. Can you tell? Yes, I know her hat isn't blue, but it's just to help me visually for now. We then need to draw a rose for her lapel thing. I don't know what the word is. Honestly, what I should have done is taken a picture of this and then use that as a reference. That would have been a lot quicker and a lot easier, but I didn't do that. So I could technically cheat, it's not cheating, it's my own artwork, and reuse a drawing of a flower I've done before. I very recently finished a water lily. Now what I could do, and I'm actually going to show you what I'm thinking. We're going to, for 2 seconds, just switch to this. Just because I'm trying to practice drawing figures, and so I have some nude model photos in my gallery, and obviously I'm trying to keep this as PG as possible. Okay. We want this. Boom. We're back. So I have this water lily, which I have drawn before. It is a flower. Okay. The flower is primarily hidden in this drawing that I'm going to be doing. So what I could do, and I'm going to show you this just for future so you know it's okay to reuse your own work, is I shrink it to about the right size. I do a twisty twist. About there. And then I use distort, which is down the bottom. And this means I can kind of wrap it around. Some people like to use, there's a tool called liquid, but I think it just kind of ruins it rather than, so I'm going to zoom in. So as you can see, I'm changing the perspective. Now I will probably draw a separate flower, but I wanted to show you this technique first. Then what I do is there's 2 things I can do. I can either drag and drop, and that changes it to black, or clipping mask, and I reduce the opacity down like this. Let me show you. And I set it to, there's the one that I'm looking for. Sometimes overlay works, but not always. There we go. But as you can see, that's not quite as effective. It just makes it like a muddy colour. So we'll actually just boop. And then if I decide that I do want to go ahead and draw a rose instead, or, you know, something more similar to this, I can, but I have saved myself a ton of time by just reusing other artwork of mine. It's totally fine to do that as long as it's your artwork that you're using and you're not, you know, taking someone else's art and sticking it on. That's 100% fine to do. I'm very bad at giving myself more work than necessary. So try and heed my advice. Do what I say, don't do what I do. So we can hide that. So there, boom, we've already completed a section, technically, of this drawing. So now I'm going to work on the hat. I'm going to do this again. You know, it's probably just easier that I remove all of the non-PG files. Let's see. I'll do that because then I can show you how to insert images as well while I'm at it. Because I love to educate. Right, I've done that so I can show you what I'm doing. Okay, so basically what I want to be doing is I want to insert an image I already have as a reference on my canvas. I'm not actually inserting it to draw with. I'm using it so that I can see kind of the lighting, the colours, so I can be creative with it, but I can also kind of get a guess at like the texture. So I'm gonna press, it's very hard for me to point, but I'm gonna press the little wrench icon, that. I'm gonna click canvas, okay. I'm gonna see where it says reference, I'm gonna tap that. So I could use this image, but I'll show you how to select your image. You click on import image, scroll down to the one you want. Here you go, let's go with this. And now I have a reference image I can move around and use without it interrupting my canvas. The only thing I'm not really a fan of with this is you can't make the actual reference box bigger or smaller. So that means I can use a colour pick and so forth. So her hat is technically black, but it's made up of light and dark browns. Like I said earlier, there's no true black. You just go up to really, really, really dark brown or really, really dark blue. We're going to use brown as our basis. Just because her hair is going to be blue-black, so it gives us a nice contrast and alternative. Okay. See, her hat is almost the perfect angle for me to reference here. And so is the face. Actually, I think I used this photo as a reference when I was sketching this out. So let me get a nice dark brown. Very dark one. I always use my shading skin kit. And I'll go make it a bit bigger. Now you'll notice I'm drawing on a different layer and it's going outside the lines. This will be fixed and tidied later on, okay? Do not panic, my love. So I'm just, again, blocking out my shading. There's just lots and lots of blocking when I do this. Like that. See, what I could do is I could technically colour pick. I could just use the colours they've got here. But I like to try and do it myself. It helps me make sure I know my colour theory. Which, a little secret, I don't. I just kind of go with what I think looks right. We got this. And I know how chaotic it looks. But it will look much better when I smooth it all out. I actually prefer the other reference I had. So I know that hat is technically in the correct position, but I don't want to copy it directly. There we go. This is a bit better. We're gonna go with this. A bit more like that. Let's make this a little bit lighter. Okay. Now I know how crazy and messy this looks. We're gonna close our reference. The easiest way to do that is just redo what we did earlier and tap reference again. Then I'm gonna drag this over here. I'm gonna click clipping mask. And that means I'm now no longer overflowing the lines. I'm then gonna merge these two layers by using two fingers and going like this. I'm just gonna pinch the two layers I want to merge. I'm keeping my alpha lock on because, key fact, if you have alpha lock off when you're shading, it will become transparent. If you have alpha lock on, it will stay nice and solid. Actually, I'll show you a quick example. So, smudge, right? I've got my alpha lock off. Yes. You see how that kind of goes transparent? If I get rid of that, and I turn, yeah, my alpha lock is on. See how it's no longer going transparent? Took me a while to figure out that little tip, so. What I want to do is actually add some more darkness down here and a light layering up here. Just so it looks slightly less flat. There we go. When I'm smudging, I'm making sure to move the brush in the direction of the hat. Just so it doesn't look chaotic. If you do it in a different direction, that's technically fine. But I'm teaching myself to not over smooth everything. So leaving some brush strokes in can be good for texture. And if you're leaving some brush strokes in, you want them to match the direction that the material is going in. Okay. Okay, so if I now go into my line art, what have I drawn my hat? I will make a mask like I mentioned earlier. Black removes what you've drawn, white puts it back. So I'm going to go painting. I use a round brush just because it makes it easier. Shrink the round brush for more control. And I'm just going to remove the line sketches that I did. Okay. And then I'm going to go back on the face mask. Bring this down. Okay. You see how now it looks like the hat is over the head. It does mean I'm going to have to fix my hair. going to use inking. I'll use my syrup brush because I like the shape that gives. Momentarily going to remove this. Oh, I think the iPad just does not like staying connected for a long time. There you go, fixed. There you go, we've got a bit more shape to the hair now. So the hat is done. I'm gonna name it so that I know what I'm looking at. And that will eventually go in its own group. Okay, finished pieces I always put in a group together so that I know those are done, those are clean, those are happy. So next I'm thinking I'm going to start working on the base of her dress. Okay, it looks like it's frozen. Yeah. If anyone has any suggestions on how best to stream the iPad, do let me know, because this is the only way I could find that was free and it causes so many technical issues. Funky music going on. Not really a fan of it though. Let's go with the difficulty is I have to use music that won't get copyrighted. There you go. So what would you like to work on next? We can work on, yeah, I think the base of the dress is the best course of action actually. So I'm gonna go up. Reference again. Now I'm looking at the colours of her dress. They're mainly yellows. So let's get started with our shading brush. Actually, I think I'm going to use Evolve as a slight more texture to it. And it translates a little bit better. So oh. Yeah, see, that's why this reference box is mildly inconvenient. Because I can't shrink it. I can't shrink the actual box. I can shrink the... Ooh. Ooh. Or can I? And it's just super fiddly. I can. Okay, you can colour me a liar. You can shrink it. It's just super, super fiddly. Okay. Super dark. Let's make this a bit lighter. then a highlight colour. Progress. We have a colour palette. So I feel like if I'm not careful, I'm going to get myself confused using a reference. So I'm going to hide that. I'm going to no, it's over there. Bring this over here so I've got easy access to it. Group my colour palettes. Name it so I know what's in there. It's always important to stay organised, because if you don't, you do what I do and you accidentally delete things you wanted to keep. Which obviously is not highly recommended. Okay. So, just for reference, let me go on to thinking. Studio pen. This is my mid-tone. This is my highlight. This is my light. And this is my shadow tone. And this is my dark. So this just helps me keep track of what I'm doing. Usually you only need about 5 colours, I'd say. Your mid, your dark, and your light make 3. Then what you want to do is you want to get one between your mid and light and one between your mid and dark. You only really need 5. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 7. You don't necessarily need. It just helps have a gradient at points. So I go back to my Evolve brush, which is in drawing. This is something that you will all have access to if you have Procreate. Again, I'm drawing on a separate layer, so it's going to look super chaotic. Bear with us. So now I'm just blocking out all my super dark sections. And for us, our light is coming kind of this. You can't see my hand. The light is kind of coming, let me do it in red. The light is kind of coming in this direction. As you can see, we've got some lightness here, but darkness here. So I have to bear that in mind. That's why I made my we just group these together to make it simpler. Here's my lighting plan. As you can see, it's very chaotic, but I've kind of planned it in that sense of the light is coming like this. But it's not a very drastic lighting. It's not absolutely stark here and really dark everywhere else. It's kind of like me. I have a light on me here, but I also have a light coming from this direction. So that means my shadows are slightly shifted. We want I think I only want my darks actually right now. So if we hide this and this. Yeah. And just bring down the opacity to make it easier to focus. So we know that we've done the hat, so I can mask that out. Okay, let's go from there. We're doing our super darks. Doesn't matter that I go over this because don't forget the top section is on a separate layer. Keep buzzing. There we go. Turn that off. So this is a lighter section. I'm going to go with my dark rather than my shadows. You see how textured this brush is? This is what I was talking about when I wanted a bit of texture going on. I'm actually thinking this is going to be dark because there's the material on top of it. Then we have our medium shade. Our mid-range between medium and light is going to go where the light kind of hits, which will be about here. Have it across here, up this section, and in here. And our highlight will be okay, so this is our basics. Then we're going to make a new layer. Shrink my brush a lot. We're going to draw in all these folds. Okay. Now I want to check if it's a belt or if they're just folds, so I'm going to turn my reference on again. See, those are folds rather than a belt, so that impacts the way I do my lighting. Goes across like this. Okay, and then go back to this palette, this layer. My apologies, I misspoke. We add a bit of the darker here, just around the edges as the light is coming this way. We want the other edge to be slightly darker than the rest, but not too dark either. We go for our mid-range colour. We'll go like this. Now there's not going to be a huge amount of light here, but it's going to be just on the top of these. Actually, from that side, they'd be on the bottom. My apologies. On this one, they'd be here. Then I want to get up my lighting plan. I want to hide these. Bring up this. I've pretty much done what I'd already planned. We just need to do this upper arm now. If I actually put all of these on, I know that I want my super dark shadows at the top of the elbow because that's where the light cannot hit. So if the light's coming this way, it's going to hit here, but it's not really going to hit here. And obviously from the angle we're drawing, her breasts are in the way, so we'll get a shadow down there as well. Got shadow here. Like this. We've got our mid-range. Our mid-range, apologies. In my brain I know what ones I'm talking about, but then I realised that I'm not exactly making it clear for you guys. We'll have a little bit of a light, but there won't be any highlights. We make this super small and do this. I feel like our dark needs to be darker. Alpha lock. Fill layer. Bye, thank you for joining. Hope you have a lovely evening. If you want to watch the rest of what you've missed, it will be uploaded to YouTube on Tuesday. Thank you so much for coming. I'm going to take a quick water break. I'm not actually going anywhere. I'm just grabbing my bottle of water. Make sure you all stay hydrated as well. I'll hide the lighting plan. So everyone make sure you have a water break. It's very, very important to stay hydrated. Does anyone have any questions so far? Coffee will do. Coffee's a good one. I actually don't drink coffee. I've never been able to get into it. I just do not like it for some reason. It's very inconvenient when I'm doing essays. I wish I was into coffee. But is it like iced coffee or is it coffee coffee? That's the question. Hmm. Good choice. Sorry, I was fighting my hair there. Good choice on the hot coffee. It's nice to have a hot drink now and then. Where are you from, Malstromdal? Hope I'm saying that mildly correctly. Because where I am at the moment, it's so hot, like, all the time. Which is unusual, because we're kind of known for rain. But... oh, America! That's amazing! Thank you for coming. Colorado. What's the weather like there at the moment? I'm England-based, in case you can't tell through the accent. I'm in Wales at the moment for uni, and it's ridiculously hot, but Wales is usually known for rain. So I wasn't prepared for the sun. That's not so nice. Well, to be fair, it can be quite nice sometimes to have a bit of a break from hot weather. I would like some rain and cloud right now. Yeah. Ooh. We love some green grass. I'm a huge fan of nature. I love going, we have a national park near me and I love going and just sitting in the park. I'm a huge fan of just sitting in the grass. In case you can't tell that I like nature by this bee. Okie dokie, let's get back into it. We're gonna have a stretch, actually. Everyone check your posture. I know that I've just been hunched over, which is not good. Have a stretch. Don't force it though. Try and keep our bodies nice and happy. Especially when you're doing art, you can end up with some really constricted muscles, especially in the neck and shoulder area. It's always good to have a little stretch. And away we go. Yes, I set them up, but I don't know how to get it so that you guys can see it. I do actually have them set up. And it really upsets me that I can't figure it out. I think you have to be, yeah, I'm on Create a Dashboard. You know what, we'll have a look right now. Okay, I'm on Create a Dashboard. Where now? Under Channel Points. Under Viewer Awards. See, I went on that earlier. But all I have is drops. I think it might be because I haven't accepted affiliate. Unfortunately. But I'll probably just put it in the welcome message that you can just type hydrate or something in chat and I will do it. But I'll get back to drawing, but I'm happy to obviously continue any conversations, chat about anything you guys want while I'm drawing. Okay, so I'm gonna start blending now. Actually, before I do my blending, I always like to duplicate what I'm gonna blend, just in case I mess it up. That way I haven't lost everything. Do you want to grab this? Actually, I'm gonna merge these two. I'm gonna merge the top sleeve and the back of the dress just so that I can merge them together, because it doesn't matter if they're connected. There's no fine line, they're both behind everything else. We'll drag this down here. Here we go, clipping mask. And clipping mask. So we need this on alpha lock. Duplicate that again, just in case it goes wrong. And merge those together. So I no longer need the colour palette up. We'll get my smudgy brush. I'm actually gonna bring up the palette quickly, I've decided, because I want to change the base colour. I actually unmerge these. And I go beep. Merge again. Now we can start smudging, which is how we make it look a little bit more smooth. So I may end up changing slightly, because I feel like sometimes it's best to do the folds whilst you're doing everything else at the same time, and sometimes it's best to do them afterwards and add them separately. We're going to try both and see what works, because it's been a while since I've done any of this, and we're going to go from there. So let's get started. So my smudge brush is actually a little bit big for my liking right now. So what is it that you stream, Malstomdel? Because obviously the fact that you've set up channel points means you must have a Twitch. I love meeting other creators. Everything, ooh. Do you have anything that you particularly like to stream? Like, do you have a specific type of game maybe? Or do you do like music, art, discussions? Oh, that's cool. That's super cool. What kind of is it like a religious choir? Like a with church, or is it school choir, or just a fun kind of choir? I used to do choir, school choir. Nice. I was in my school choir. I never actually auditioned for it. I refused to. I refused to audition. They just let me in, which was kind of unheard of. I think they just didn't want me to be problematic, but it was really fun. We went to this local other school. It's actually really fancy old school, and we sung a load of songs about dragons. That was a fun day. The songs were actually poems, I believe, that they'd just added sheet music to. It was super cool though. It's a good way to build confidence and make friends, that's for sure. So I'm trying to make sure that when I'm blending this, I'm moving my brush in the direction of the material. Fire and drama. Oh, I loved drama. I've always wanted to be in acting or script writing, to be honest, either side of the screen. I think drama's so much fun. I wrote a play when I was in primary school, so I must be about 7 or 8. I wrote a whole play and I made some of my friends audition for it, and we put it on in my living room for our parents. It was called The Wish That Went Wrong. It was super fun. Whoa, that's so cool. Kudos to your daughter. I love that for her. That's so cool. Is there a specific type of film that she's interested in, or is it just film in general, like specific genre, specific area? Thanks. Like, I'm particularly interested in like thriller and crime. Oh, just film in general. That's cool too. To be honest, I'm interested in pretty much any kind of like film scripts except for comedy. I just don't like comedy movies. I always find them pretty boring. But that's just me. I'm just never been someone who's into comedy. Which is probably ironic for someone who does Twitch and, you know, should be cracking jokes all the time. But I just feel like comedy movies try too hard to be funny sometimes. So as you can see, we're starting to get some actual texture into the dress now, which is always a good start. So I actually want to add some darker bits over here, so I'm gonna, there's nothing wrong with going back in and adding. Just do whatever gets the job done. It doesn't have to be perfect, like, ever. just as long as you're enjoying yourself. That's something I struggle with, is I strive for perfection too much, and I end up taking away some of the joy. Wow, a family of Twitchers. That's so cool. I think it's awesome that you would like do Twitch. I only recently started. Well, I actually started nearly a year ago now, but I had to take quite a few months off for medical reasons. Like I had surgery, and also I'm in my final year of uni, so I've actually only done a couple of months of it. But I'm properly getting into it now. I'm starting to upload stuff to YouTube as well for people who miss it, because, you know, it's easier. Whoa, that's such a cool idea. That's an awesome idea. You should definitely do that if you can. I think it's lovely when like families do stuff together. Thank you. Yes, I am. It is something that I'm quite open about. I'm chronically ill. I have joint disabilities with my joints and stuff. And I actually fell down the stairs and basically broke my ankle a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, I get flare-ups now and then, which means some days are worse. So sometimes I miss streams because I can't walk or use my hands. So this is our first stream back with art, where I've been feeling well enough to be able to do it, and I'm super happy to be back and super excited. Luckily, the people who do like follow me on here have been super lovely and super supportive and really understanding. And you know, sometimes I've tried to stream when I've not been up to it, and they've just told me to look after myself, which is nice. Yeah, it's not great. It's not my favorite thing. But, you know, it is my reality. It's my life. And I can't let it stop me from doing things I want to do. That's kind of my philosophy. And my family are super supportive. And they just want me to be happy, which is nice. They've never said to me, oh, you can't do this because you're, you know, not as physically fit as everyone else. They've just said, go for it, have fun, but make sure you take care of yourself, which is nice. Honestly, I need to find a better software, but because my laptop isn't Apple, I have to use a third-party software to share my screen, which isn't great, honestly. Okay, let's do the mergey merge. As you can see, I'm leaving like some of the brush texture in rather than over smoothing it. I just think it helps add a bit of 3D to the clothing that I'm drawing. We might actually get this done quite quickly. I won't be getting the face done this stream, but we're making a lot of progress. I think it helps that I'm super like enthusiastic about the project. And I'm a bit more confident because I have streamed art before now. There we go. Oh. The only issue with using my fingers to have to move, like, rotate the screen is that I sometimes accidentally draw faces. And I don't always realise straight away, which is less than ideal. Okay, let's see. I think it's starting to look good, starting to look less 2D. This stream will go up on YouTube. It won't be cropped down. Well, I'll crop out any like technical difficulties, but that's literally it. Just because it's nice to be able to see the whole process. once this drawing is done, I will upload the time lapse, which is usually about 30 seconds to 5 minutes long. Usually about 5 minutes of the entire thing, so that you don't have to watch several hours worth of footage to see the process. But obviously, I do love having people in stream to watch, but I know it's not always something people have time for, and I've had loads of people ask me to upload stuff to YouTube for them to catch up on after like their exams are done and stuff. Thank you! I'm glad you think it looks great. It's been a really long time since I've done any art because I was unwell. So it's nice to get back into it, honestly. It's nice to get back into it and to know that other people like what I'm doing. I do art for fun. I do sell my art as well, but I've been doing a ton of commissions of animals lately, so I haven't done many people. I do sell my art on Etsy, but it's not something I push dramatically. I don't make stuff specifically for Etsy. If I make something and I think, oh, other people might like this, or other people tell me they'd like it, then I put it on there. That's just sort of how I work. Okay, I think what I want to do before I do the other side is I very quickly want to hide the line art. There you go. There's the first half of the dress. Needs a little bit more work in places. But it's looking pretty decent in my opinion. Obviously I'm slightly biased. Okay. Clothes are actually one of my favourite things to draw. I think it's so interesting how you can take it from this flat 2D colour and, the way how chaotic and flat it looked when I first laid down the colours to suddenly it's got folds, it's got texture. It's just one of my favourite things to draw. And it was one of the first things I drew on... that I was happy with on Procreate. Just shrink these a little bit. There we go. Onto the other side! Hide the colour palette 'cause it's in my way. Gonna have another sip of water. Just because I can, and I should. I am notorious amongst my friends for not drinking enough water. Hydration is key. I have a little slot at the top of my desk that I use for storing my straw in. It's meant for like propping like an iPad in or a book. I use it as a straw holder. Right, let me just check how we're doing. Battery wise, we're fine. It was 100% when we started, but I just have such bad luck with technology. I just thought I'd give it a check. And we go back into... So when I do skin, I tend to merge in lots of mini circles. When I do clothing, I tend to do it in long strokes. And you'll notice that when I next stream go onto the face, because I think next stream we'll be ready to do the skin. Honestly, we're making so much progress. Just with technology. Okay, mean but true. Look. Things very rarely go my way, okay? I have just accepted that I'm cursed. This music is very energetic. It's very dramatic. I wanted some dramatic music. It's quite loud, this song, actually, I've just noticed. I wanted dramatic music because obviously Lady Dimitrescu, villain from a horror game, it's dramatic. But like, I don't want anything too over the top because this is still an art stream and I like to think things are kind of chill here. But this is a decent playlist. Good job, Twitch. Yes, I know you thought she was your love interest. We all did. Well, yeah, it's quite easy to forget she's a villain because she's not actually that, like, bad, I guess. She's just a mama. She's a very tall mama with a need for human blood. You know, we all have our hang-ups. None of us are perfect. Let's make this brush a bit smaller because this is a bit more intricate. Will you be watching? Would you like? So either I can play this game in my own time, or I can stream/record my playthrough. Would anyone be interested in watching my playthrough? I know the game's been out for ages. By the time that I'll get round to it, which will be beginning of July, middle of July. I'm going to play it regardless. So obviously, if that's something people would be interested in watching, of course, I'm happy to stream/record it. There we go. Getting some texture in there. I think the right hand side is my favourite side so far. It might just be because it's a bigger area, it's easier to get some good texture in there. There we go. How are we looking now, guys? I think we're doing decent. Do you know what I should have done? I should have blocked out the other sleeve while I was at it. I'm not very smart. Thank you. I'm glad you think it looks great. I'm going to do this top sleeve. I'll block out her other sleeve. And then I'll see where we're at. And I'll check on how long we've been going. Because obviously I don't want people to get tired/bored. We've only been going about an hour and 45 minutes, I think. So I'm happy to go longer. Ideally, I'd like to finish this whole dress maybe on stream. But I think that's quite a push to do. Maybe we'll finish the back of the dress and then I'll do the hair and the front of the dress next stream, and then we can do her face and her hands. Although I might make a start on the face and the hands in my own time, probably not the like merging, but just the blocking of colours out, because I tend to spend a lot of time changing my mind, which can be infuriating, I guess, for other people. So, and I want this to be nice and enjoyable for everyone rather than watching me and being like, oh my gosh, she's crazy. So I forgot to do that. There you go. It's very easy to forget to do certain bits. If you're not already, just a reminder that the Discord is open to join. I think we have about 50 members now. So if you would like to, there is a link in the About Me section on my Twitch. Honestly, it's just a community for artists, gamers, music and book lovers just to come together and hang out. It's also obviously where I will let you know what I'm streaming and when. But if you would like to find other pieces of my artwork and be kept up to date when I complete new things, head over to my Instagram. You just have to click the socials banner in my About Me section and that'll take you to a list of all my socials. I'd suggest following my Instagram. That's where I post my finished pieces. It's kind of my portfolio, so to speak. If you like going outside, yes, you can join Discord. You don't have to be an inside kind of person. Just make sure when you join, you read the rules and grab yourself some roles. You don't have to select your pronouns. That's just there if you would like to. But the roles give you access to certain channels. I spent ages setting it up, so it'd be really awesome if we could get some more interactive people. Got loads of people who've joined it just for the notification of when I'm going live and that. So it'd be cool to have some people who are chatty in there as well. But obviously, lurking is always valid. I'm a lurker myself. I'm not particularly chatty. But yes, as I was saying, Instagram is probably the best place to follow if you want to see my finished pieces. I finally finished the Tiefling that we were doing on stream ages ago. I was going to wait till we came back to stream, but I'd lost interest in it. I wasn't motivated and I knew that wouldn't be a very enjoyable stream to watch. So I finished it in my own time last night. And I'll be posting that on Instagram tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Monday. And I will be posting a TikTok tomorrow. Would you like to see the Tiefling now? I can give you a sneak preview of the Tiefling as a reward for being in stream. Okay, let's take a quick break from Lady Dimitrescu and take a look at a Tiefling. Lady Dimitrescu's top arm is going slightly wonky anyway, so let's have a look-see, shall we? We want personal projects finished. Here we go. Here's the finished Tiefling. Their name is Nadine. They're a rogue. They have a scaly tail. I think the fire is my favourite part of this piece. But we have to give special mention to the dagger, which I spent hours on, and you can barely tell. What's your favourite part of this piece? The dagger. I can actually show you the flames. Yes, the flames are my favourite. I can show you the actual dagger, like in its full-blown glory. It's also up on my Instagram. Or in theory, I can show you the dagger in its full-blown glory if I have a photo of it. No, I deleted it. I can show you it via my social media. Here you go. Here's the dagger in its full-blown glory. We have a snakeskin tail. We have flames as a handle. Some engravings. This is a pretty dagger rather than a functional one, as I did get a lot of comments from people telling me it's not functional. Thank you. It is the most recent piece I finished and I'm really happy with it. It's going on my Instagram tomorrow. Or, yeah, tomorrow. I have a schedule up here, that's what I'm looking at. But the flames are actually my favourite piece, part of the piece. Just because they took me so long to do. I'm glad you like it. I'm thinking, I do take commissions for portraits and stuff, so I'm thinking of like adding a section that says that I do D&D. There's Lady Dimitrescu. We might actually get this dress done today. We're making some amazing progress. The cat is trying to climb through my window. Just to clarify, I don't own a cat at uni. We just have a random cat that tries to break into our house sometimes. Okay. I'm not so happy with this top arm, but I think if I keep fiddling, I'm going to make it worse. She says as she keeps fiddling. Okay, I can't tell if that's... Oh, that's hat, not sleeve. Okay. We missed a spot on the hat. I'm notoriously bad for doing that. There we go, let's fill it in. Boom. It's just very easy to get lost and distracted, you know? Okay, let's... It's now time to block out the other sleeve. Okay, we now have a group of complete pieces. I try and keep my work area as tidy as possible. Work area, the desk of my iPad. Just because otherwise I get very lost and confused. Okay. Let's do a new layer. That wasn't what I meant to turn on. That was. Turn on our colour palette again. Posture fix, because I'm starting to feel the bending. Nice, we're doing good. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna do this sleeve and then I'm gonna like leave it up to you guys. I'll let you decide whether we keep going or we switch to the wind down of the stream, because it will be the 2-hour mark, just over the 2-hour mark once I finish this sleeve. And obviously, for those of you who are from England, the UK, that time zone, it's very late in the evening, it's 9 o'clock at night. And tomorrow's a work day for some of us. Okay. I want my colour palette nearer to me, please. So that I've actually got access to the colours I need. Half of digital art is just moving the colour palette. Okay. Now we need to turn on our lighting plan. The shadows are obviously in this darker corner. Yes, I know we made it slightly darker, so I'll do that again. Like that. Yeah, because remembering the light's coming from the bottom right corner. I forget that the camera is flipped for you. The bottom right. So, my brain. You know what I mean. Okay. Turn off lighting plan. See if that kind of matches what we'd already done. Want some lighter parts up here, I think. Okay. Then, on another layer, we take the dark and we make our little folds. You've got to remember that the folds need a dark and a light section. So there's the dark. There's the dark. Brilliant. I think that's really all the folds that were needed. So now we hit them with the light bit. I actually want to make this fold even darker. Okay. Then we duplicate this. Fill layer. Well, I have to unlock it first and then I'll fill layer. Brilliant. I'm going to click select. So this is selecting that part of the dress that we just completed. I'm going to go to the block out for the new sleeve. I'm going to click mask. No, I'm not. I always get confused by this. First, I'm going to invert our selection. Then I'm going to click mask. And that means it's cut down so that it's not overlapping with what we've already done, so I can see where I'm going with my shading to make it smooth and cohesive, if that makes sense. So then we need clipping mask. Boom. So the only thing I'm going to do before I merge them is these bits that hit the round of the dress. Actually, I'm going to remove that mask. I'm going to clear it and I'm going to do it myself. Because what I want to do is I want to remove it. When you do it with the mask, sometimes you end up with a few pixels missing, which is what was just happening to us. And obviously it looks way less cohesive that way. So I go like this. And I grab some black. I'm actually going to bring it in slightly. Because then when I remember to close it, I click select. I invert that selection. Remove this. And I click mask. We should. There you go. It's a bit more cohesive that way. Then what we do is we delete that. Put this back in its place. Then we go clipping mask, merge. So this is still going to be going underneath the other dress, but this for now is just so I can see what I'm doing. I always forget how big some of the brushes are. Some of them are super tiny and some of them are super big. Okay. Mergey time. Okay. This is going to need a lot more definition in it, but for now I'm just doing it super smooth and quick. So I can drag it under here, and that way I can see what it actually looks like. The top of it, I'm going to have to merge it to get that done. So for now, I want to go back to my evolve brush, drawing, evolve. I'm adding some more texture down here because there's not enough for my liking, basically. There you go. As you can see, we have a little bit more texture in here now that I've added those extra colours in. I just got to blend this bit. I need to actually add that. So some of the folds have kind of been removed with the blending we've been doing so far. So I just add them back in. Ready to blend again. I shrink my brush down. And away we go. These are usually kind of the hardest things to blend because they're in a different direction to the rest of the blending you've done. Which makes it quite hard to... Take a shot every time I say blend. I feel like I need to add a counter of how many times I've actually said the word blend today. It's really hard to keep it consistent and smooth and looking like it belongs in the material rather than sitting on top of the material. Because that's really what's happening, is it is part of the material at the end of the day. Okay, we've done... Sorry, I have the hiccups. I'm going to duplicate both of these because I'm about to merge them. So I want to protect what I've done already just in case this goes wrong. So now we merge everything in one go. So we've got if I turn off alpha lock quickly. Fill in any bits where I'm not sure that they've connected quite right. because drawing with pixels is a nightmare. This is why vector programs are often better, but I find them harder to use. Okay, what is that white that's... There we go. Let's go inking. Got a very small section here that's not joining up. There you go. That should be everything that's important. We turn back on alpha lock so that our smudging does not go transparent. I complain about technology once again. I reconnect it. It's reconnected. And we go back to smudging. Really, my goal here is to remove this very abrupt line between the two. Being Lady D's seamstress must be so hard. Like, she's so tall. There's so much that you need to do. I guess it probably protects you and keeps you alive, right? She's not gonna let Mother Miranda experiment on the only seamstress who will actually make a dress big enough for her. You see here what I mean by it's really hard to make the folds look cohesive because now we've got this very sharp line. Yes, it's covered by the flower a bit, but I'd like it to be perfect in case I change the shape of the flower at all. And we've got these bits to merge in. Again, if the crease doesn't go with the direction of the rest of the material, it's quite difficult. And the bane of my life. Turn off the line art up here, just so I can see what I'm doing. A good tip is to, whenever you're smudging, is keep the opacity lower. It means that there's less distortion and manipulation going on. So it's a lot softer look, which is something I learned the hard way. And it just makes your piece look altogether a bit more professional. These folds are so difficult to do. At least these go in the shape of the rest of her material. This one not so much, but see, I don't just blend the actual line, I blend the colours around it and push them into it and on it. See, these are a wee bit too pronounced for my liking now. actually preferred them before, but that's what I keep duplicates around for. But I'm just gonna blend them out. Grab my Evolve brush. I'm gonna draw over them just so that I can lighten them a bit easier. They'll still be darker than the rest, but not so drastically. It's just lots of compromising. It's lots of, I've made a mistake. I'm not going to get stressed about it. I'm going to see what I can do to fix it or to incorporate it into the rest of the drawing. This matters slightly less with digital art because obviously there's an undo button and a rubbing out button, but still a good philosophy to have, because when I go back to traditional art, I can't do that. There we go. I feel like I want to lighten that bit. So what I'm going to do is, again, duplicating is your best friend. Do it all that you want. Blend these in and I'll see if that looks kind of more how I would like. Then what I can do no, I think I prefer it as it is already. That's the back of her dress done. So it's now up to you guys. I'm going to put the line up. Actually, I'm going to tidy up the line art and then while I'm doing this, have a think. Would you like to stop here, have a quick chat and a wind down and say goodbye for the evening? Or would you like to spend another half an hour, maybe a little bit longer, doing the front of her dress? Let me know in the comments. If I don't see any opinions, that's fine. I will just wind it down to the end of the stream and we'll have something to do for next stream. We will be working on Lady Dimitrescu next Sunday, same time, 7 PM GMT. We will work on her until we're finished, which will be either 1 or 2 more streams. Okay? Oh, okay. Go mow the lawn. Have a lovely time. Thank you so much for watching. I will be uploading this to YouTube and also I will be finishing this next stream. So please drop a follow if you would like to see more from me. But if not, thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being so chatty and an awesome companion for my stream. Thank you so, so much. Au revoir. Mwah. Don't forget to always follow if you would like to see more. Oh, you followed several days ago. Oh, I can see you in my activity feed. 12 days ago. Thank you so much. You're awesome. I can't wait to see you again. Mwah. Have fun mowing the lawn. It's very good exercise. I hope it's not raining too bad for you. Bye for now. I'm just going to tidy up my line work. We're going to hit ending stream. And we're going to chill for 5 minutes before we head off. Okay? So let's tidy up my lines, which are... Can remove all of the line work for the clothes. Almost all of it, sorry. I can remove... Let's make my brush a bit bigger. Oh, not that big. This is quite difficult to work with. Here we go. We've made a ton of progress today. I'm super, super happy and so grateful for all of you who have been super chatty. Okay, that's that removed. Oh, and this sleeve up here. Brilliant. So let me drag this where it belongs, which is incomplete. Boom. I just want to thank everyone who has come today.